Newton-Raphson method, this is also known as the NR method, right? Numerical method, which is Newton-Raphson method. In short, we say NR method. N stands for Newton-Raphson, Newton-Raphson method. Okay, and this is a method by which you can solve the solution of the algebraic and transcendental equation both, right? Algebraic and transcendental. Suppose you have given any algebraic equation. What is the algebraic equation? I think you know. Uh, every polynomial, like suppose I am writing ax to the power n, bx to the power n minus 1, and so on. So this is a polynomial of n degree, and if you want to solve the solution of this equation, but if it is very complicated, then you can use any numerical technique like secant method is there, uh, regular falsy method there. Many methods are given in which there is one method which is in our method also. So for algebraic equation, if it is very complicated, so you can use these numerical techniques like NR method and any other. Okay. And what is transcendental equation? If you know, transcendental equations are those in which you include some special function like sine, cos, little bit trigonometric functions like tan x, sin x, cos x, sec x, cosec x, everything, all six ratio. You can include or exponent like e to the power x, a to the power x, logarithm function. So I'm giving one example. Suppose there is x cube plus 2x square plus 8 to the power x is equal to 0 is given. So this is not a algebraic equation. Is it polynomial? Anyone reply? Is it polynomial? Is it polynomial? It is not a polynomial. It is a transcendental equation. Transcendental why? Because you are using here one special function which is e to the power x. Okay. So from NR method you can find the solution of these type of equation very easily, but for that you should know what are the steps, how you apply the NR method, what is the formula, what is the convergency of this method, and what point you have to select so that you can get your solution in very few steps. In few steps means in very few approximation tabs. Okay, so how we just get the solution? Let's see. There are some steps or method in this. First, what you do, you just find the first initial root. Initial root means suppose you are saying ki root is lying in between two roots, like suppose I am saying x is lies in between a and b. So you will start with the first approximation. That approximation may be x0, and this x0 is the maybe the mid value, or you can choose x0 as a, x0 as a b, or you can take any in between value in which is in between a and b, or you can just bisect it. Bisect means you can find the mid value of it by using the formula a plus b by 2. So in this way you can just start with the initial approximation by taking this initial value, and then you can start the NR method. Okay, so what is this NR method? Let's see, and what is the formula, and what is the conversion rate of it? Just see it. The convergence of NR method is second order. Is second order convergence. It means that the nature of the method is quadratic in nature. Quadratic. Okay. Uh, because in each step, your the error, if you are getting in any approximation, it is just proportional to the square of the previous error. So that's why this particular method is known as a quadratic or second order convergence method. Okay, while the other methods like previous method, bisection method, and other methods are linear order convergence, but the NR method is second order convergence. This question is very important for the competitive examination. In the competitive examination, mostly this question is asked. The Newton-Raphson method is what type of convergent method? They give linear convergence, second order convergence, third order convergence, or none. You will mark their second order convergence. Why? Because in each and every step in the initial approximation, you will get the error which is the square of the previous iteration. So that's why we say it is second order convergence method. Okay, and let's see what is the formula for the NR method. First of all, you have to clear key what is the NR formula which you will apply uh, to solve the solution of the equation, and the formula is this one: xn plus 1 equals to xn minus f of xn upon f dash xn, where n vary from 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. If you are putting n equals to 0, you will get first value x1 equals to x0 minus f of x0 upon f dash x0. Okay, this will be your first approximation. And for this first approximation, you have to require here the first value x0 and the function value at this particular point, and the differentiation of the function which is given function means equation, differentiation of that at this particular point. And by putting all these value here in the formula, you will get x1. Now this was the first approximation. In the second approximation, continue the step. You just put n equals to 1. So if you are putting n equals to 1, you will get x2 equals to x1 minus f of x1 upon f dash x1. Now again the same step you will follow, finding the value of the function at x1, differentiation of the function at x1, putting the previous point which you have got in the initial approximation 1, and find out x2. Continue the step with x3, x4, x5. Find x3 now by using the same formula x4. You have to continue the step until you will get two approximations same. Suppose you are getting the same answer in this step, both answers are approximately same. Up to some decimal places, you will stop here and declare your root. So this was the NR method. Just I want to explain. This is the proof how you are getting the formula of this particular derivation of the NR method. This is the derivation given here. Now see, and this is the geometrical interpretation is given here, and these are the steps for NR method, the same step which I discussed here. Write the function first, which is equal to 0 means question. This is a function or an equation which is given in your question. Find closer root x0. How you find the closer x0? I already told. Either you can take a is x0, b is x0, or you can find x0 by dividing in by finding the mid value, or by just finding the sum of this and divide by 2. Okay, so that you will get x0, means you have to find the closer root so that f of x equals to 0. And you have to check whether this particular root and the previous is less than 0, the product of that is less than 0. If yes, then you can take this as the initial approximation. So initial approximation is what? X0 now. Finding the first approximation, as I explained in the previous page, x1, x2, x3, putting all the values, continue the steps till we get two approximated value, means same answer, x3 equals to x2. Then stop and finding the, if they are equal, stop here and write the answer. Okay, so how this method works, let's see one example. Yes, this is question. Find the root of f of x equals to x to the power 4 minus x minus 10 equals to 0. So this is simple algebraic equation. This is not transcendental equation. But it is not easy to find the value of x because the power of 4 is given, and you can't use here hit and trial method. You can't use here splitting the middle of term. So you have to use some numerical technique, which is, you can say, NR method. Okay, so what you do, first of all, just finding two root. Root means in which the actual answer will line, actual root of this equation is line. So for that we can just start with 0, because 0 is the origin in the number line, and here are number positive and here all numbers are negative. So you can start with this number 0 first. If you are putting x0, you are getting negative 10, means negative value. But if you are putting x equals to 1, so x equals to 1 means f of 1. So f of 1 means 1 minus 1 minus 10, means again you are getting negative. So this is negative and this is also negative. So just continue the step. Again take positive 2. So if you are taking positive 2, f of 2 you are getting here 4. 4 means positive value. So it means that for 1 you are getting negative and for 2 you are getting positive. The root is lying in between 1 and 2. Okay. Root is lying in between 1 and 2 means your actual answer, actual root of this equation in between 1 and 2. So for that, and you can also check this condition कि whether f of 1 dot f of 2 is less than 0 or not. So yes, because obviously if it is negative value and it is positive value giving, so it means the product of this is negative. Okay, so you just start to take the initial value, but there is one trick. Just I'm explaining this trick ki how you can take the first approximation value, means x0. So root is lying between 1 and 2. Now see, at 1 you are getting minus 10 and at 2 you are getting 4. So just see कि numerically which is closer to 0. If I am taking 0 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 is here, but minus 1 means minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 10. Something I am assuming here. It is very far from this 0. Okay, so you can just say which value is less, because obviously the less value will be closer to the origin. So it means that you can take the value for which you are getting 4 answer, means f of 2 equals to 4. It means you will start with 2. So this is also a way so that you can take this initial point x0 equals to 2. And you can also do one thing. You can just take 1 plus 2 by 2, that is 1.5. You can also start with 1.5. So this is another trick. Either you can just bisect it or you can just use this closure method. You just see which absolute value is lesser. If f of 2 absolute value is 4, while f of 1 absolute value is 10, so it means 4 is less than 10. Or you can understand in this way which is closer to origin. So 4 is closer to origin, it means 4 you are getting at 2, so it means you can start with x0 equals to 2. Is it clear? Clear? Now for the second step, just use the iteration. First iteration, second iteration, and so on. So in the first iteration, just use the formula xn plus 1 equals to xn minus f of xn upon f dash xn. Okay, putting n equals to 0 here. If you are putting n equals to 0, you will get x1 equals to x0 minus f of x0 upon f dash x0. Okay, so what is your function here? Your function is x to the power 4 minus x minus 10. Okay, so finding the value of f of x0 means f of 2. So you know what is f of 2. If you are putting f of 2, so what you got here? F of 2. What is the value of f of 2? It is 4. So it means that f of x0, f of 2 is 4. So we will substitute that value. Similarly, differentiating this function, you'll get 4x cube minus 1 minus 0. Now substitute this particular point x0 means 2 here. You will get the value of this maybe some value. So what is the value of this? We are just writing here 4. It is 31. So writing here 31, and this is what? This is I think 4. So write it's 4. Enough? This is a value. Now putting all these value, x1 equals to x0 minus the value of this upon the value of the differentiation, means 4 upon 31. So you have 1.871 answer. Okay. Now, this value will be used in the second iteration now. Okay, because it is required in the second iteration here. Now, just put n equals to 1 so that you will get x2 in your formula. In B means in your formula, NR formula. So if NR formula, you are putting n equals to 2, n equals to 1. So if you are putting n equals to 1, you will get x2 equals to x1 minus f of x1 upon f dash x1. So substitute the value n equals to 1, whatever you have x1 1.871 minus f of x1, matlab find the value of the function at this point, differentiation of the function at this point. So just calculating here, so you will get 1.856. Now check whether the second iteration and first iteration value is approximating same. No, it is not same up to the second and third places. So continue the step, third approximation. In the third approximation, when n2 and x2 equals to, you have to take 1.855 6 if I'm truncating it. Huh? Put n equals to 2 in the equation of the nr again, so you will get x3 this. Substitute all the values here, x2, f of x2, f dash x2 finding, you have to find it. So you will get x3 equals to 1.8555, that is 856. Now you can check both x2 and x3 are almost same, 1.856. You can say yes, root is 1.856, and which is lying in between 1 and 2. This particular root is lying between 1 and 2, which we have written in the starting step. So you can say the root of that particular question is 1.856. So this is your answer of the question. Now here is one good thing, you can also use the same calculation in a tabular method also. In the tabular method. So in the tabular method only you have to write these steps. So in the first step, just write value and make a column. Iteration, at what iteration you are just continuing the question. Xn plus 1, f of xn plus 1, these are the calculation. So if you are putting value n0, so obviously the iteration will be 1. It may be the iteration 1. If you are putting n equals to 0, so in the NR formula, you will get 0 plus 1 means x1. So what you have obtained 1.871, this you have to calculate. Okay, you have to calculate also f of x1 0.3835, means everything you have to calculate, but the advantage of this method is no need to write this all things. You can just solve here only. You can just write everything on the rough paper and just fill this entry in the table. Okay, x1 fx1. Now increment the value 1, so that you will get iteration 2. In the iteration 2, you will just find out x2 from the calculator, putting all the values in the calculator and just getting the result, finding f of x2 with the calculator. But you should have equation. So I think you already know what is the equation you should have, and previous answer you should have. So you have this value. Now increment the value, and 2 iteration will be third. Now x3, just use the previous value, differentiation value also, and putting here and getting the value of f of x3 here. So what you are watching here, you are seeing the both value at the iteration number 2 and 3 are same. So you can just immediately write the root is 1.856. So I will just suggest you, you please try to solve the question with the table method, because it will take less time. Even in this also you have to do calculation. It is not a thing if you are using table, so no need to do the calculation. You have to use the calculation, but what is the advantage of this method? No need to write these all things like here we are writing. So instead of writing, you can just put all the calculations in the table only and just use your calculator. So in this way, with the table method also, you are getting the same answer like by this complete method we have you obtained here, the same answer we are getting. Okay, this is also an example. So this is the question the same like the previous was. So I think you can solve this question yourself. This is the question number 2, x cube plus x square minus 1 is 0 by NR method. And the third, this the next is table method also given here. Okay, so NR method is very easy method by which you can find your solution very easily.